everyone, today I'm going to be giving an in-depth tutorial on how I groom and fill in my eyebrows. When I first started getting my eyebrows done, I got them waxed and I later moved on to threading, but over the last couple of years I've stopped getting them professionally done just because I would always end up being unhappy with how they looked. So whenever I do want to kind of clean up my brows, I use a blade. Don't try this at home. Yes, I know, it seems very scary, but what I do is I just take it and I clean up the area around my eyebrows and I lightly go underneath and remove any hair that's still there. And then if there are any little hairs remaining, I just use a pair of tweezers and just pluck them out. There are a couple different ways that you could fill your eyebrows in. I like to stick to the good old-fashioned pencil, and the eyebrow pencil I've been using lately is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the color Ebony. It just looks like this. So on a brow pencil, you'll usually have one side that has a spoolie, which is this little thing, or you might have a brush or some sort of comb, and if your pencil doesn't have that, go ahead and use any old comb and just, comb your brows in the direction you'd like them to be in. So for me today, I'm going to be combing my eyebrows upwards, but you can also do downwards if that's your style. Now that we have them pointing in the direction we want, it's time to fill them in. So I'm just going to wind my pencil up. I like to draw lines going up and just flicking them so that it's kind of giving the illusion of hair follicles. I hope this makes sense. So you're starting at the base and then you flick up. You want to kind of use a light hand so that you're not drawing any dark lines and making them look a little bit too scary. So we're going to lightly draw upwards. Here you can see my eyebrows are a little bit thinner, but I'm just going to continue with the upward stroke. And I'm going to do that all the way to the end. And then I'm going to kind of just extend it a little bit. And now this is where I'm going to actually outline the end of my brow and kind of just lightly color that in. Now underneath, I'm going to very lightly draw it from the start to the finish. So this is just to make it look very neat. I like to extend it closer to the center as well, so I'm going to continue doing the upward strokes very lightly. But if you're going to extend it to the center, you have to make sure that it's not too drastic and you keep it very light, because otherwise it will not blend well with the rest of your eyebrow. And I'm going to take my pencil and brush it up. If your lines underneath aren't completely straight, that's okay. We're going to fix that afterwards. For now, we just want to make sure that we have the actual eyebrow filled in. So now I'm going to do the same on the other side, going upwards with these strokes. So you can see this eyebrow has a lot more hair than that one, so this one always comes out looking a little bit darker, which is why I try to draw this one in a little bit more. So sometimes your eyebrows are not the same, that's okay. You can kind of tweak them to make them look the same. Now, for the top of the brows, you don't have to do this, but sometimes I like to. I'm just going to lightly draw the top straight. Just very lightly. Now we're done with the pencil, we're going to move on to concealer. This is an important step because it really cleans everything up and it makes your eyebrows look neat and polished. If you want to keep them a bit more natural, you don't have to do this, but I like to do this just because it makes it look it's very different, you'll see. I'm taking a bit of concealer and I'm putting it onto an angled brush. You can also use a flat brush or any really tiny brush that you have. If you don't have any brushes at all, you can even use a Q-tip, but you just have to be very careful. So we're going to take the concealer and very carefully, we're going to just outline around our brows. And I'm just going to flick the concealer down. I'm going pretty quickly, but you don't have to feel pressured to go fast. You can go very slow just to make sure that you don't accidentally wipe your entire brow off. And then I'm going to take some of the concealer and just go on the end and then I'm going to use a little bit on top. So you can see that I didn't dip back into the concealer. I'm just using whatever is left over on the brush because I don't want it to be like a big box around my eyebrows. I'm just going to blend in the top. So I'm using a foundation brush to blend it all in, but you can use your finger, you can use any brush you have just to make sure that you get rid of all of it. Look at the difference between the concealed brow and the brow that isn't concealed. It really does change just how clean and precise it looks. Now, if you feel like you accidentally took off some of your brow when you did that step, you can just go back in and lightly fix it. Moving on to brow number 2. And I like this step because sometimes even if your eyebrows are very different, like you drew them on and you made a mistake and this one's higher, this one's lower, you can kind of use concealer to fix it a bit if you don't want to start over. Here's a fun little tip. Even if you don't draw your eyebrows in, you can still use concealer just to clean them up and make them look sharp. Again, I accidentally took off some of my eyebrows, so I'm just going to quickly draw that back in. Sometimes it's hard to get really up close underneath your eyebrows to get all the concealer off without wiping the eyebrows off, so what you can do in that case is take a little bit of face powder and just go like this and just pat under your brows, and that will help to blend everything in. The final step is I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel in the color Dark Brown. This isn't a necessary step, but I like to use this because it makes my brows a little bit darker and it keeps them facing, sticking upwards. So it's just an eyebrow gel, but the difference between this and any other gel is it has some pigment in it. I'm just going to use it very lightly and comb up. If you go too dark with this, what will happen is, I'll show you. You get a lot of color. And if you do that on your eyebrow, it will completely destroy everything. You'll have to start over, trust me. So we're just gonna go up. And sometimes if there are any missing pieces that you didn't draw in properly, this really helps to just color them in, which is another reason I really like it. Our brows are done. It turned out pretty well, even though this one could use a little bit more concealer because it's a little bit thicker than that, but it's okay, I'll deal with that later. I hope this video really helped you to learn how to fill your eyebrows in, and you don't need to use the same products as me, but I'll still link them down below. If you like this video and want to see more tutorials, like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys!